Yeah, how's it, Sean? Back for another week of the box pod. How was your week, bro?
My week, bro.
Yeah.
My week was
3212? Shauna, the box party's starting.
This is the box pod.
bro, nothing went right for us this weekend. Like, not even a single call, actually.
Yeah.
Everything went Australia's way. The only thing we learned out of this test is that we rely heavily on a referee's performance to do well, which is the worst feeling, knowing that you're one of the best sides in the world. I can't fathom the fact that Dweba is still in the Springbok start.
Okay, buddy. We'll just calm down a bit there. Just calm down. There's another week of rugby coming. Yeah, take a good. Luckily, I paid for that, so it's yeah. Anyways, we'll send you to AA meeting soon. Anyways, okay. But despite everything that went wrong, did anything go right for us?
No, everything went right for Australia, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. No, there's nothing we can take out of this game, except for the fact that we've unearthed a few issues. Yeah, so many. We could just make a whole episode on what went wrong.
No,
but we're positive.
Yeah,
South Africans are positive people.
Yeah.
We don't have goldfish memories.
No.
No, we fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think looking at the game, big part that was missing was the attacking, just game plan. What was going on?
No, like I've been wanting to say this for a while, but I strongly think that our attacking coaching needs a lot of work, and I think I don't know. I think Zondile Stick is our coach currently, and I don't know what were his credentials before coaching for the Springboks, because I think he was at the EB Kings. I might be wrong, but
That makes two of our coaches.
yeah, that's our forwards coach who keeps choosing
Dweba.
and another coach who seems to. I mean, when last have we seen the Springbok backline do a move other than just the forwards that do the ball out the back and then you pass it to the backline and then they just shovel shit basically and hope. And then so also another thing is our attacking game plan is the players looked so frantic to try and make a line break off the first phase every single time, because they know as soon as they get tackled on the game line or something, boom, they have to kick. So that's why I think a lot of the errors came, like a pass that's too hard or guy forcing it, and we just kept messing up because they were told, okay, do a bit more running rugby on Saturday. And it's the same thing that happened last year against Australia. But unfortunately, our Oaks they know like they're going to have to kick if they don't make a line break. So then they try and score off the first phase, which doesn't work in rugby.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, look, the forwards did their job in the first half on Saturday. Yeah. Like we had most of the possession. We had like 70% territory. We were in their 22 for about 15 minutes straight, bro.
Until a little call from the ref when James Slipper, who had literally France had him in his pocket, and Slipper decides, let me scrum in, literally up, boom, the ref gives them a penalty when we've been dominating the whole time.
Yeah.
Gets them out of
there were like 4 or 5 dodgy calls just in that sequence of play. And I mean, Hanyani Shimange was absolutely losing it, bro. I feel so bad for that guy.
our pundits at halftime, Butch James looked like he was about to burst a vein. Everyone was just trying to hold it in, like, and look presentable on TV, but you could just see on the quiz. They were like, it was so funny.
Yeah, I mean, just the comments that they were making.
Yeah, I think if they walk, like, I was thinking about other South Africans, but if our pundits walk into Nick White on the screen, I just want to see what Butch James is gonna do. One of his classic shoulder charges on him.
Nick Mallet will literally pick him up by his mustache. I flip it. I love the swinging finger to the chin. Yes, that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes, I was laughing so much. There's a positive about the game.
Halftime was just like, well, it was probably one of the funniest half times I've had. But also I was just purely had given up on Springbok rugby for a second there. Like I was just so disappointed.
No, for Brew to walk in at halftime 10-0, and Pollard had missed 2 kicks, and not the hardest kicks in the world, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't even close.
No, Pollard. The thing is with Pollard, he has to make his first kick. I've noticed it. If he makes his first kick, boom, he settles down, and then he can't miss. So like you'll see in a match, if his first kick is in front of the post, or even if it's a hard one, but usually in front of the post, boom, kicks it over, he gets his rhythm going. But as soon as he misses one, I've seen like him fall apart.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And just the same thing that happened last year against Australia. Like our Oaks just look so desperate to win there, and then they're trying too hard or something, and then they stuff up. Like
Yeah. And I mean, eventually he got his third kick in over, which was the easiest one.
Yeah.
But he kept calling it for Sia, basically saying kick.
Yeah.
You know, at what point, like, surely there has to be a point where Sia goes, or our captain goes, okay, look, this isn't, you just missed your first two.
Yeah.
We've wasted 10 minutes trying to get points. Let's go for the corner and try and make this up.
The thing is, then you have to rely on Dweba. That's the only issue, bro. And Dweba, I mean,
dude.
Like, I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but 90% of his throws are skew. When we get into dangerous territory, that's the only time they call it. I mean, Dweba got pulled off the field before halftime in 3 of his first 4 games for the Boks, and I was hoping really like after this year that he would have had improved since last year. I mean, he's had all the time, but I mean, he's been dropped to the bench at his club side. So that tells you how much faith they have in his throwing ability. Because I mean, when it comes to physicality, he's got it. But I mean, that also brings in the question: why isn't Grobelaar there? Like, why a guy who was man of the match against Leinster away in the URC semi-final? So
no, Grobelaar's had an unbelievable season, and it's sad that he wasn't, given any acclaim. Like Ivan Rus, player of the season, URC player of the season, he was only called up like a few weeks after the first alignment camps. Whereas Grobelaar was debatably just as good. Like for the Bulls, he has been insane.
He's been unreal.
Yeah. So to see us, I mean, now we're at the point of benching a flank.
Yeah, I think
as our replacement.
But like apparently, I mean, I don't remember these days so well, but he played a decent bit of hooker at some stage. But he's a flank now. So when he was a flank. So when he was a hooker, he never could make the Springbok side, but now that he's a flank, he makes this Springbok side. That's hooker. But I think if he can throw, I mean, then he's the closest thing we have to Marks as well. If you think about it,
that's so sad.
If he can throw, because when it comes to fetching and just that nuisance, that's Dion Fourie, bro, and that's exactly what Marks does. So
we've got 4-5 really good fetches in the side. So this coming weekend, but we're still looking at the past weekend. I think
the blood's boiling already.
We were speaking about Pollard, and the more individual performances that were absolute dog shit was, I think, Faf didn't have the worst game in the world, but he was so stupid, and it goes back to what I was actually saying in the previous episode about him trying to make an impact. He's trying to make the most out of every situation. Yeah. And I'm not saying what he was trying to do to Nick White was wrong, because he could have pulled it off, but the chances of him pulling it off, and he technically, the ref was so bad that Faf thought he was onside even. Yeah. Like he was so far offside at that scrum, and then like Oaks was saying, what he was trying to do is illegal. It's not illegal.
He was going for the arm as well. Like they're like, oh, why would he go for the ball? If you look, Nick White's arm was like behind his face. That's why he hit the face.
Yeah, even if you hit the ball and the ball went backwards, it's play on.
True.
So what Faf was trying to do was legal. For you guys who think it wasn't, but like that's a stupid. You see that from a scrum half who's trying to make his mark, who's just started out at the Springboks, but you don't see that. Also, Faf's kicks would.
His kicking hasn't been there. That's the main thing that annoys me. I know there's going to be a brain fade from Faf somewhere, and also when the Boks are on top and he plays like that, he makes it almost impossible for a team to attack. But when the Boks are struggling a bit, then Faf, often those mess ups cost us even more. Yeah. But like you said, his kicking it hasn't been there. His overall play hasn't been what it usually was. Yeah. I don't know if he might still be a bit concussed, but I mean.
Okay, then another player who we've noted who has been very lackluster in the last few weeks is Peter Steff, which is very weird to see because he's normally one of the most consistent players for the Springboks. He's got one job and it's to he's got more than one job, but his main job is to disrupt the attack, put pressure on the fly off. And I mean, how many times did you see him rushing out at Lolesio on the weekend? You didn't see it.
Yeah. I think it's like our defensive structure as a whole was just not as good as for some reason the last couple of like games, because we're getting broken because of Oaks are looking tired and stuff like that, and then we get broken, and then he doesn't understand how to fit into the defensive structure. So like we saw him shoot out as well the one time, made a massive gap, and then Australia scored.
Yeah.
And that's just so in the first game against New Zealand, he was looking flipping good because we started with marks. The whole forward pack was clicking, and he just got to do his work. Same with Faf.
Yeah.
I mean, he would have done well, but before he got knocked out. But when we are struggling a bit, then he doesn't know how to fill in that defensive role. Like he just looks lost.
Yeah. When he even starts trying to get a turnover,
Yeah.
then you know the game plan's not working. Like as soon as you see Peter Steph going for a turnover,
Yeah, that's not his job.
that's not his job, bro. And when he's trying to do that, it means he's preoccupied from his job,
Yeah.
which is disruption.
Yeah.
So look, Peter Steph's performance haven't been great, but the team itself hasn't been great, and Peter Steph needs a team, a well-rounded team composed of fetchers, tacklers.
Yeah, for his role.
For his role,
if he was playing a different, more generic role that didn't involve him shooting up and all that stuff, he would still be a world-class player. But
he doesn't train for that.
Yeah, he's training for a different thing, and when the team falls apart, he can look terrible. But
talking about the guy who came on to replace him, Mostert, who gave away 2 stupid penalties, sealing after a tackle.
Yeah. I mean, it's becoming a constant thing when he just comes on, boom, gives away a penalty for seat. Yeah, okay. Sponsored by AA meetings. What was I going to say? Yeah, no, it's a constant thing where he comes on and he costs us territory possession, and he's a brilliant player, as we know. But is he an impact player? Is he a guy that's supposed to be on the bench? Because his whole thing, he's a workhorse. He plays 80 minutes. That was his whole thing.
Yeah.
Now he's a guy who's come on, has to make an impact. That's not for me. That's not who Mostert is. That's why I would much rather see Ulrich Loh at 7 or on the bench rather than him. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, because like Mostert, he can go 100% for a whole game, but his 100% isn't Ulrich Loh's 100%. No. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he can make it last a lot longer. So he's very much a starter.
Yeah, he is.
And then, but that doesn't excuse those penalties he gave away.
No.
And those were two stupid penalties, and they both led directly to points.
I wonder if that has anything to do with the fact that he's playing in Japan, because they're not as rough on some of those laws of the breakdown that you see in the URC, the Prem, all that stuff. They're not as rough on those type of calls because there's a much more free flowing game. You know, it's passing the ball around. So a lot of those flankers and stuff will struggle, like when they come to international rugby now, where as soon as your hand touches the floor or you're not completely holding your body weight, boom, penalty against you.
Yeah, Nigel Owens on the weekend was absolutely shocked at what Paul Williams did.
Yeah.
You know, so
no, I mean, some of these Oaks, you wonder if there is a bit of a. He was definitely influenced by the home crowd, in my opinion. The fact that he was in Australia. I mean, that you see it so often where teams under pressure, and talking about the scrum now, and then suddenly a scrum penalty happens, boom, straight to Australia. Yeah. He doesn't even think for a second to reset it because he wasn't sure, or think, oh, maybe South Africa's been dominating the whole time legally. When our scrum goes forward, it goes forward completely like that. As soon as the one scrum goes like this, he gives a penalty to Australia. And
the only way they can do that is to scrum in.
Yeah. So how was that decision made? It has to be that he was affected by the crowd. Speaking of scrumming in, Tupou, he's a tight end, and that Oak is the king of scrumming in, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's a shame that he plays for Australia for his part, because those overhead shots always come in. The scrum starts and then you see Tupou on the outside, straight in like that. And finally they penalised him for it. Like, hardly ever they penalised him. And then next scrum he tried to stay straight and he was absolutely demolished by Kitsoff. So
it's amazing how like with his size can't scrum.
The thing is, bro, I genuinely have this thing that, like, if Oaks are too mobile, those props, if they're too mobile, they don't have that top level scrumming. Like, he'll destroy some club level guy, not like, I'm not saying that he won't do that, but when he comes up against a proper pack like ours, he's gonna struggle against the fatties. Like, he will, like, yeah.
But the Oxenchair, he's a exception there.
Yeah, no, but he's mobile, and he showed it again. But he's picked up a lot of weight from when he started. Like when he started, he was a bit more like Tupo. Like that was scoring a 50-meter try for SAA. Whereas, I mean, he outpaced someone on the weekend when he was going for the ball for that chip. But I mean, that's like all his energy gone, probably.
Yeah, the props were quick. They worried about being fit as well. The Oaks who aren't, they just worried about scrumming. So and they do their job. So but I wanted to say another thing. So on the weekend, so last week, Dweber was selected, and then Dion Davids was asked why. This Oak guru came out and said that Dweber, in other areas of the game, makes up for his poor throwing and scrumming. Okay, those weren't his words, but that's what he meant. He literally meant that, bro.
I mean, why do you need a hooker then? I mean, just let somebody else, somebody random Oak throw, and now I would much rather have a hooker that's average in all aspects, but hits his lineouts, can throw a ball to the back. I mean, Dweber, you will never see a difficult lineout being chosen for him. You know what I mean? Like all our lineouts for him will be max middle ball, front ball,
and that limits your locks.
It limits us so much, and that's why. And you can see that our lineout is atrocious compared to it was at the World Cup. At the World Cup, we lost one lineout in the entire World Cup. Like, just try and wrap your head around that against the best teams in the world. Whereas now, and that's put us on the back foot. Like his first throw again on Saturday, I don't know if he's got the ips or something, because no, genuinely, because he looks so shaky. The one throw, he literally threw it skewed to Australia. You know, when they tapped it back over their try line and dotted it. If you watch that carefully, like all his throws drift left, right? Yeah. So we were on the right. Boom. Throws it literally straight to Australia. Australia was like, yeah, we definitely stole that. No, he threw it straight to, basically threw it into their try line. Like, I mean, oh gosh. No, so I think he might have the ips, because you could see, like, after his first throw, they didn't go up, and he threw it so skew again, and he just looked so dejected. You can see he's like been struggling with this for a while. But I mean, and he's currently benched, or second or third choice for his club. But it makes you wonder, what have the Box coaches been doing? Like, are they watching him? Are they watching when he plays in France, when he finally gets a start?
Are they watching him at practice?
Are they watching him at practice? Or like, what is Dion Davids doing? Is there when there's lineouts at practice, is there actually a contest, or is it just throw the ball, get into your maul set, and then the contest happens as the maul? Or are they actually going up trying to steal balls and make it hard for him?
Yeah.
But I guess as a hooker, when you get to international level, that's not what you should be practicing. You should be practicing just hitting your mark and then knowing where to go in the maul and stuff, and focusing on that, because that's what we tend to focus on. They assume that the hooker will get it there, whereas his throws are just, they aren't there. Like, and when they finally were starting to get right, like I said, it's going to be the easy balls. And if it's on the 5 meter or in a tough situation, you can bank on it being skew. The question is just if the ref is going to call it or not. Like, is the ref going to see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's steer from that topic, because we could ruin our day.
Yeah.
So, just last point about the previous game was 2 big injuries coming out of it, and Pollard, both knee injuries.
Yeah. Being
sent back to their clubs for rehab. 2 massive losses. Even though Pollard played probably his worst game.
Yeah. Before that, he was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously best player in the world at the moment. I don't think many people actually disagree. So to lose those 2 players, it creates opportunities for others to come through now and develop a bit of experience before the World Cup or before the end of year tour. But to lose the defensive acumen of Lukhanyo, even Pollard, is massive, and there's some big shoes to fill.
We only have Krill, right? There's
and Moody. Moody is outside centre.
No.
He is, yeah. No, Jake White, he said, like, the fact that he's made the Springboks as a wing and a fullback is weird, because he's a centre.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I can see him in that position. Yeah. He makes, and it makes sense, because his defence, he reads the game like a centre as well. That's why his defence is so bloody good. But so that's actually a good sign. But I doubt the Springboks will play him at outside. That's just too much of a key.
Yeah, you can't.
So we are heavily reliant on Jesse hitting like form similar to his like 2015 days, like 2018 as well. He was pretty good. Like he's gonna have to hit that form because we can still win this tournament. Listen, guys, like 3 matches left. If we start playing dominant rugby, which I think we can now that we have a proper side that we've selected with Outback Oaks that are going to hold us back, I think we can definitely win this tournament. But our 13 is going to be super important in that. Like,
yeah, I mean, we haven't even played the best team yet.
oh yeah, exactly. I mean, yes. I was just thinking about that post from Rugby Pass where Marx is holding,
upside down.
Yeah, Marx is holding Peter Steph the toy, and then the caption is, "Oh look, we are number one."
Look, oh, come on.
We're number one.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's enough for the past game. Let's look forward.
Oh wait, we didn't even mention the Oaks that played well though. Sorry.
Does that matter?
I mean, I want to say just Kwacha, like at least,
Yeah, okay.
because Kwacha, he should maybe should have been the choice maybe at 7 this week, because I mean, our lineouts weren't working anyways, and that's the whole point of having a tall 7. So, but maybe they just really want to make sure. Actually, yeah, that might be why Mostert is playing. He's known as a lineout
Option.
a very good lineout, like he calls it as well. So now we have 3 flippant tall Oaks. Because we haven't really been seeing Peter Steph go up even in the line-out stage yet, yeah? And that was
he's more of a dummy.
Yeah, and that was his main thing as well when he moved to 7, to have more line-out options.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, Kwacha was brilliant, and I hope he gets another good chance this weekend.
Yeah, as well. I bring him on a little bit earlier in the second half. Yeah. Okay, so on to game 2. There's been quite a few changes. Hendrickse back in with a new combination at 9 and 10 with Hendrickse and Willemse.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that one.
The most informed player we have, Willemse at 10. Yeah, I think it could go one of 2 ways, but more likely to go the good way.
Yeah.
And then Krill replacing on the wing, obviously, with Moody getting his debut in Vili at 15. And guys, we've been needing Vili recently.
Yeah, no, honestly, our backline, in every match this year so far, our backline has fired like at 100% when Vili's on the field. Like, it's been so obvious.
He just balances it out.
Yeah, he just, because he knows he plays a proper 15 role of distributing and knowing when to go himself sometimes, but mainly he's so selfless, you know what I mean?
Yeah. We've got the finishers, and we've been missing that setter upper. You know, the guy gives the assist pass.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully Vili comes back firing this weekend. And then obviously your Kanan, I'm so keen to see Moody's debut. Like we've been saying for how long now that this Oak defensively is almost flawless.
No, earlier this year I was thinking he might be our best. I think he is our best defensive wing in the country, and he's like,
so young, dude. Jeez. This is the first Oak that I've seen who's younger than us, dude.
Yeah.
Been making the
Springboks, actually.
Yeah, so it's like.
No, I've already given up, bro. Like when I look at tennis, bro, like just like Alcaraz and those Oaks, like Yannick Sinner, like 20 years old, 19 years old.
Bro, I still have hopes of starting at 9 for the Springboks. I still have hope.
I'll call Make a Wish.
It's similar to. It's similar to like watching the Olympics when you see like a 16-year-old swimmer, like winning a race, and you're like eating your Doritos.
Yeah, and you actually tune him. You're like, hey, that tumble turn was cock, eh? Like,
what a loser!
Look at this, okay? Meanwhile, I'm like pulling a Dorito out of my
Oh shit!
Okay.
Yeah.
Back on topic. Yeah, no, I'm very excited about Kevin. Yes, as a Bulls fan, like I have a soft spot for Jesse Krill as well. Like there's a lot of like unnecessary hate towards him as well, because I mean he was brilliant for us when he was at 13, especially in 2015, and then took his place, and he hasn't really had a shot at 13 since then. I mean, let's be honest, whenever he's played, he's basically been put into 14. And the one time I think he played 13 against Wales, when the whole side gets changed. And I don't know if you've ever seen a side. We've seen it so many times when an entire team gets changed. There were 14 changes. The team doesn't click, and Oak doesn't get a chance to show what he can do. So this week we'll get to see what he can do. I mean,
let's hope the concussion has worn off.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been following Rugby Pod recently, but they've been having that long conversations about return to play of players who were concussed. And like JC was concussed 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You saw Faf. I mean, he was concussed 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I'm not jumping to any conclusions
Yeah.
here, but I really hope that Jesse is fully recovered.
Yeah.
And
The thing is, Jesse at least he wasn't out flipping like cold. He
he was worse than Faf, bro.
was he?
He was dizzy. He fell over
Yeah.
and shit. So yeah,
Mm.
it's But I do back Jesse. Just one concern in the back of my mind, knowing like rugby they don't take concussions as seriously as they should.
Yeah. I mean, they like to pretend that it's like a really big thing for them, like especially like the refs and stuff. But it's so they're so pedantic about certain things. But then like in the sevens I was watching a few weeks ago, they'll be like, no, you can't go off your feet at the right. Then they leave like 3 shoulder charges and stuff. I mean, Marika Korobetti, that tackle that he made.
Yeah.
No offense, Squid Rugby, but just because the arm comes late doesn't mean you actually wrap. Like when you're learning about reffing, one of the key things is looking if there's a late arm that comes around, and that's literally what it was. Hit and then the late arm that comes around. Like that's not a legal tackle.
I mean, the head was on the wrong side as
Yeah.
well, and that's something World Rugby has been trying to push out of the game.
Yeah.
And so to have that with a shoulder charge, and then a late arm coming around.
I mean, how many head hits were there? Like if Dialendi was pulled a neck white, I think it was Hunter Paisami or someone would have gotten a red card because he literally, while he was getting tackled out, Hunter Paisami flew in with his shoulder into his head. You could see Dialendi was like showing it to the sideline ref. Sideline ref didn't give a damn, and then Dialendi kept on playing. And that's literally like the type of things that should be penalised. But Oak touching on Oak's mustache, giving it a little tap, that's a yellow card now.
No, yes, bro.
Yeah.
I can't like contain the anger. Yes.
We're not sponsored, so.
Yes, I can't contain the anger I have for that referee. Just like the fairness.
Yeah.
It's not there. And the weird thing is, it always goes against South Africa for some reason.
Yeah.
Always.
It's almost like our perception is skewed a little bit for some reason.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're biased.
Yeah.
There you go, bro.
So
It's a bit sad.
okay, but I mean, so Damien is here now.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah.
Everyone's excited. I mean, he's the this Oak has been in crazy form.
Yeah. A year ago, I would not have been excited, but now I'm excited.
No.
Even a few months ago, I would have been like, listen, he's a 12, or when we played against New Zealand the first game, like we saw that attacking, like Willemse catches the ball, boom, he goes. But as soon as we like started doubting ourselves after that second game, where our start was so terrible because mostly due to like lineouts that weren't going right and like giving them the ball, not being able to capitalize on our territory and everything, then the doubt started creeping in and we started trying to play more territory again. Yeah. Whereas we need to keep playing with that intensity, keep backing ourselves. And this week I think like our forward pack is probably one of the best it's been now that Jasper is back. Kitsoff and Marks are starting. Like we can really start with that intensity, and I'm sure like we will play with more attacking, counter-attacking ability. So yeah, other than that, obviously we spoke about Dion Fourie, but another man on the bench that I'm excited to see and really glad that he's back from injury is Kobus Reinach. He was in brilliant form for Mopede before he got injured.
Yeah, and I mean, absolutely rapid.
Yeah.
I love watching Reinach, especially having him as an impact player. Yeah. It's gonna be cool to see. It's given a sniff of a gap, and those aren't gonna. Even I think he's probably faster than Korobetti.
Yeah, I know he's flipping. He's probably one of the quickest players in world rugby. I mean, his dad was a South African, I think 400 meter or 110 meter hurdler or something like that.
That's the first sentence that comes up after you mentioned Kobus Reinach. Everyone, you know his dad was 400 meter. Yeah. So
was my grandpa, but the genes didn't quite make it.
You got the back end of the stick.
Yeah, man.
Okay, but this weekend now, what can we expect from Australia?
From Australia, I think we can expect more of the same. I don't think they are that good a side currently. I think with Karevi and Cooper, they were on a different level. And I just think Argentina showed it. Argentina should have won both games. The first game they only lost because they basically ran out of steam. They were too tired. Whereas now they're fit enough, and then they thrashed Australia in the second game. Australia got a lot of players back, but I still think from their side it's going to be very similar. They're just going to be trying to play some good backline moves, some interesting plays like they did on the inside, and they're going to have intensity and everything. But I think if we can really ramp the pressure up on them, if the scrum penalties that are inevitably going to come are called correctly, if Tupou actually gets penalised, because I have a feeling they might start him, he's going to come scrumming in. If they actually call that, we'll have a very good chance, because our lineups are going to function this week.
Yeah, those one-on-one battles are going to be important. Because you see, from the last weekend, it was individual performances that let us down, but it was individual performances that won Australia that game. Corabete, probably the biggest one, and then Fraser McWright also really impactful. So to have to put Corabete against arguably probably one of the best defensive wingers we have ever produced. On a club level. So let's just hope that Moody can match Corabete this weekend.
Also, when you think about what the Bulls and the Stormers achieved, Ireland won the series in New Zealand against New Zealand's best players. Our two club sides knocked the two best Irish sides out, and a big part of that was Kane and Moody. So if we'd won Super Rugby or made the Super Rugby final, people would be like, oh yeah, no, this Oaks definitely. But we're not getting all that same amount of praise, I think, because it's just the URC. It's not the Crusaders. Some Oak was like, oh yeah, some Oaks, I never want to hear that Leinster are like the Crusaders again. Well, listen, if Leinster played the Crusaders now, they'd probably win 2 out of 3 times. So what the Bulls did was insane, and Kane and Moody was a big part of that. So
cool. Yeah, I know. Totally agree there.
No, but what are your predictions for the weekend?
Okay, so this is a really hard one. Can I give 2?
Sure, yeah.
Box by 15, Oz by 15.
I'm sure Betway will accept that.
So I do think South are going to come back firing this weekend. We're going to play with all our heart, and the ref knows that he's going to be watched this weekend. And normally brings the best out in the ref. But
sometimes though you get that defiant ref just because the pressure's on them, they'll be even tight on the other side just to show that they haven't been influenced.
Brass lines. So I'd say Springboks by 8.
Springboks by 8.
Yeah.
Springboks by 80. No, I'm joking. Springboks by 20. I think this team is way better than that Australian team. I think
so?
Yeah, I think Australia are brilliant, but and I just feel there's been a lack of leadership, and I thought Falafel would bring that leadership back, but all he brought back was averageness and throwing skew and all that. So because I really thought they need Hooper, but now that Hooper's out, that Falafel could take that role again because he's a leader. But that hasn't happened. So they're not looking as good as last year for me. They looked way better last year. We never swayed on the box pod. Our name doesn't give it away at all. The day we choose another team to win is the day we cancel this thing. But no, we were tuning last week's team. This week, I don't know where you saw it, but the players only had one practice day or something because of because of the flights being delayed. So you could see the Oaks weren't clicking. But also I don't think that's 100% a good enough excuse to play like that the whole game. I can understand the first 20 minutes being sluggish and then getting into the rhythm. But anyways. But I think this team is better. I think Jasper's got way more intensity and life in him than Dwayne currently has. And I think, Stephen Kitzel, Malcolm Marks. I think Damien Williamson is going to have a good game. Kane Moody is going to score a hat-trick.
You're giving me a lot of hope for the weekend.
I'll back it, bro. I think Nienaber, he's put it all in. These are the Oaks he wanted to choose. Yeah. So let's see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shot, bro. Good episode.